This is a CBS News Special Report. I'm Scott Pelley in New York. President Obama is about to step into the briefing room at the White House to make a statement about Paris under siege tonight. Here's what we know so far. There have been multiple simultaneous attacks in Paris tonight, bombings and mass shootings. It has all of the appearance of a coordinated terrorist attack. There was a bombing at a large stadium in Paris where the Germans and the French teams were playing. The president of France was at the game. He was evacuated. He is safe, and he is meeting with his cabinet in an emergency meeting tonight. There was also a report of a mass shooting at a restaurant with perhaps more than a dozen people killed there. At the same time, here is the president at the White House live.
Once again, we've seen an outrageous attempt to terrorize innocent civilians. This is an attack not just on Paris, it's an attack not just on the people of France, but this is an attack on all of humanity and the universal values that we share. We stand prepared and ready to provide whatever assistance that the government and the people of France need to respond. France is our oldest ally. The French people have stood shoulder to shoulder with the United States time and again. And we want to be very clear that we stand together with them in the fight against terrorism and extremism. Paris itself represents the timeless values of human progress. Those who think that they can terrorize the people of France or the values that they stand for are wrong. The American people draw strength from the French people's commitment to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. We are reminded in this time of tragedy that the bonds of liberté and égalité and fraternité are not only values that the French people care so deeply about, but they are values that we share. And those values are going to endure far beyond any act of terrorism or the hateful vision of those who perpetrated the crimes this evening. We're going to do whatever it takes to work with the French people and with nations around the world to bring these terrorists to justice and to go after any terrorist networks that go after our people. We don't yet know all the details of what has happened. We have been in contact with French officials to communicate our deepest condolences to the families of those who've been killed, to offer our prayers and thoughts to those who've been wounded. We have offered our full support to them. The situation is still unfolding. I've chosen not to call President Hollande at this time because my expectation is that he's very busy at the moment. I actually, by coincidence, was talking to him earlier today in preparation for the G20 meeting. But I am confident that I'll be in direct communications with him in the next few days, and we'll be coordinating in any ways that they think are helpful in the investigation of what's happened. This is a heartbreaking situation, and obviously those of us here in the United States know what it's like. We've gone through these kinds of episodes ourselves. And whenever these kinds of attacks happened, we've always been able to count on the French people to stand with us. They have been an extraordinary counterterrorism partner, and we intend to be there with them in that same fashion. I'm sure that in the days ahead we'll learn more about exactly what happened, and my teams will make sure that we are in communication with the press to provide you accurate information. I don't want to speculate at this point in terms of who was responsible for this. It appears that there may still be live activity and dangers that are taking place as we speak. And so until we know from French officials that the situation is under control and we have more information about it, I don't want to speculate. Okay? Thank you very much.
Any change in your plans?
The President of the United States live in the briefing room at the White House responding to the simultaneous terrorist attacks in Paris tonight. We do not know how many people have been killed, but it appears it could be as many as several dozen. An attack on a restaurant, an attack on the stadium where France and Germany were playing a soccer game, and an attack on a theater where police have said many hostages have been taken. Our CBS News correspondent Elaine Cobb is in Paris tonight. We have her on the phone. Elaine, what do you know?
Well, Scott, the anti-terrorist squad of the police have been now put in charge of this investigation, and that says that the president has decided that this is definitely serious enough that they believe there's very strong likelihood that this was a terrorist attack. So they are going to take charge of the entire investigation, and that will be over all the various police forces. The mayor of Paris has now gone to the Bataclan concert hall, where we're hearing there is still a hostage situation underway. Unclear if the hostage takers have made any demands at this stage. The police have not said anything about that. And the president of France is due to speak shortly to address the nation, and hopefully he will have a little more information on what is going on.
Elaine Cobb reporting for us live on the telephone from Paris. To recap where we are right now, an apparent simultaneous attack by terrorists on several locations tonight in Paris: the soccer stadium, a large theater, at least one restaurant. There have been multiple explosions. There have been mass shootings. Police have reported more than 40 people killed, but of course, in these early hours, those casualty figures are going to be highly unreliable. It's not likely that we are going to know the true damage done until daylight tomorrow. Chip Reed is at the White House, where the president just described this as an attack against humanity. Chip?
Well, Scott, the president said he has not talked to the French president about this yet because he's too busy with dealing with the situation himself. But he did talk to him earlier today because there is an economic conference in Turkey over the weekend. The president will be leaving for that tomorrow. So they certainly have been in touch recently. He also said that France, of course, dating back to revolutionary times, is our oldest ally. They have stood with us repeatedly, shoulder to shoulder, and we will do the same with them. Scott?
Chip, thank you very much. We're now looking at pictures that have been coming in over the last hour and a half from Paris. All of this happened about 10 o'clock Paris time. A beautiful Friday evening there. Many people out for the big soccer game against Germany. Many people in the Bataclan Theater. Apparently a hostage situation unfolding at that theater now. The casualty estimates have been growing progressively throughout the past hour. At least 40 people have been killed, but again, we do not have a firm grip on the number of casualties. Massive casualties in Paris tonight, a multi-pronged terrorist attack. We will have the very latest right here on the CBS Evening News.